Republican Matt Van Epps winning the special election in Tennessee, putting an end to the Democrats' winning streak. What lies ahead for the grand old party? GOP coming up.
And taking down narco-terrorists, the commander-in-chief and secretary of war doubling down on their fight against drug traffickers.
Well, Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea.
And a billionaire tech couple just made the largest donation ever to support America's children, including possibly yours. The shocking amount of money the family is donating to help millions of kids across the country through Trump accounts. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Wednesday morning. I'm Carly Shimkus.
And I am Todd Pyro. Let's get right to it. A Fox News alert: candidate Matt Van Epps, the Republican, winning the Tennessee special election against Democrat Afton Benn. The GOP doubling down on his support for the president in his victory speech.
Tonight, you've sent a message loud and clear. The people of Middle Tennessee stand with President Donald J. Trump and stood firmly behind our campaign. As we look forward, I say this to my friends in the liberal media and to the professional panickers in my own party. Tonight we showed running from Trump is how you lose. Running with Trump is how you win.
Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. That's dead right, get the head right, Biggie there, every night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruce.
Okay. Well, that was good. I mean, that was good. That was very interesting. Not sure I can really track that one, Jerry, but I liked it, and well done. And we're in a good mood this morning, and we're slowly getting over the flu that has had us knocked down. I'm like sweating in the studio this morning because we're like still got a little feverish, man. So we're going to work through it together. Luckily, we don't do an in-person show. Otherwise, I would be getting Piers Morgan sick today. Because Piers Morgan is on the show, and we're thrilled about that. Also, Rick Scott, senator from Florida, back on the show by popular demand. And I got a request for Sean Davis, because he lives in this district. And we need to reach out to Sean Davis right now and see if he can pop on, because I want to chat with him about what happened in Tennessee last night. And what does this actually mean? Because I see it as an absolute good. This is a wild time in American politics. There's a great resetting of the political landscape. And I think that Democrats are making a critical error. And we're going to talk about it today on the show. Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Republicans win big in Tennessee district that Trump won big. Republicans also won by nearly 10 points last night in what some are saying it's like a Rorschach blot test based on what you see in these results. We're going to talk through all of them today on the program. Trump declares Biden auto pen actions null and void as the Somali question here in America spirals out of control with a brand new travel ban in place for 19 countries. And we're going to talk about what they all have in common, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully we'll have Tennessee native Sean Davis, editor of The Federalist, on the show. Reach out and see. Let me know in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, if we can reach out to Sean. It's just crossed my mind because his feeds are crossing my X account right now, and I want to see if there's a chance to talk with our buddy there from deep in the heart of Dixie, deep in the heart of Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, where's your heart this holiday season? Is it with you and yours inside of your family? Is your tree going to be red with the beautiful Christmas lights that are dashing and darting and twinkling around our wonderful ornaments for you in this beautiful Christmas season? Ladies and gentlemen, please head on over to the Benny store. Our ornaments are flying off the shelves, and it is time for you to lock in with the great red Christmas wave. You're experiencing a red wave right now. Klein, I'm waiting for my music. Klein, where's my music? I'm waiting for my music. We don't sure where I'm going. It's in the script. This is my Christmas spirit, ladies and gentlemen. On full display behind us, the Christmas tree. Now this is so tangled I can't even get back there. The Christmas tree. Here we go. Christmas tree and Christmas ornaments. Pick the 2028 Trump Red MAGA hat. If you are looking to troll libs this morning, then please, ladies and gentlemen, head on over to the Benny store and get your Christmas ornaments today. $5 made right here in America. They are ready and rocking for you. I just love hearing this twinkly Christmas music in my ear every single morning. It uplifts our hearts, and you can uplift your Christmas tree. Get all 12 available in a bundle package. Here's our tree of the day. We're going to do tree of the day every single day. You can see the Trump dump truck, garbage truck hanging there on a Christmas tree. What's the name here? Catherine. Well done, Catherine. Here's your Trump ornaments and your red America map. Ooh, we got another. Angela Rogan. Well done. Send your Christmas tree snaps in to Klein at BennyJohnson.com. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Merry Christmas to you, and we wish you the best in the holiday season. But we got to get those orders up and out. Man, where are we at? 40,000 ornaments shipped. I would like to say, and we're not one to brag, but we are probably the #1 ornament salesman in America right now. And we're proud to be decking the halls here as we decked the halls in Tennessee last night. We're going to take a victory lap. We need the extra energy, so we're going to take the victory lap. Ladies and gentlemen, First Liberty is a sponsor of the program today. I know that the holidays are always full of surprises, and because of that, I want to share something that honestly blew me away when it comes to religious freedom. It shocked me when I learned the states rank low on First Liberty Institute's Religious Liberty in the States Index. My friends at the First Liberty Institute is one of the nation's leading law firms protecting religious freedoms. They just released their index, and it ranks all 50 states on how well each state protects liberty and faith. Where do you live? The results are full of surprises. You should head on over and find them right now. We want a win rate of 90% in their religious liberty cases. First Liberty is just one of those incredible organizations that fight for religious freedom, that track these things, and that go to battle in the courts. This includes a 9-0 record in the Supreme Court when fighting for religious freedom, as their state-by-state report is so important. Check it out today. You want to see where First Liberty Institute ranks your state? Get your free copy today at firstliberty.org/Benny. That's firstliberty.org/BENNY. Ladies and gentlemen, the First Liberty Institute. Okay, let's talk Tennessee numbers. We had John Rich on the show yesterday, and he was detailing what's going on in Nashville. Nashville is a tough one. Because Nashville is considered the Hollywood of the South, and because it has all of the luxuries that you would want to see. You can keep that article up, Klein. Yeah. Sort of the luxuries that you'd wish to see in a large metropolitan space. The artistry sort of attracts the people like locusts from fields that they have ripped to shreds, from places that they have ripped asunder, like LA. When those industries atrophy, a lot of those artistes end up moving to the Nashville area. This is where some major production companies have moved. Of course, major music companies have moved there. We talked with John Rich yesterday about how there's no more rap artists in the top 40. It's all country music artists. And so if you're in that industry, which of course swings wildly to the left, you're going to have a major influx in places like Nashville. And I think that is what you saw yesterday in what some are saying should have not been a close race at all. While I tend to agree with that, I'm very happy with the result. We're just going to round up from a 9-point win to just a 10-point win here and say that this is what you would expect. Here are the results yesterday for Matt Van Epps, who is a Army veteran, West Point graduate, somebody who has been a Tennessee commissioner. He's served in public office. He's from Tennessee. He loves that state. He is born and bred, as they would say in the South. But something crazy happened in this Tennessee district. You can see right here. While every single county went dark red across the district, Nashville went 80% for the leftist Democrat, somebody named Atif Ben, who was campaigning against Nashville, which is crazy. What she said specifically in her campaign race is that she hated Nashville, she hated bars, she hated country music, she hates bachelorette parties, that she hates the entire culture of Nashville. Yet Nashville votes for her by 80%. What the hell is that exactly? I want to diagnose this, ladies and gentlemen, just sort of off the top of the show, because it's something that we're seeing all across the country when it comes to leftists and the candidates that they run. They're running insurgency candidates against the native populations and against the places that they wish to lead. Whether it's New York or Chicago, Baltimore, Nashville, Detroit, the left runs candidates that hates these cities, that hates the places where they're trying to represent. What is that exactly? Well, it's the end stages of a political ideology that is about destruction, whether it's the destruction of human life or whether it is the destruction of your way of life, whether it is the destruction of this nation as it is founded. It is self-loathing at its core. It is built on a sort of godlessness and a hatred, and it's ugly. It wishes to see the demographic, political, social, and religious change of places just for change's sake without asking whether that's good for the people or the population. It masks itself in care when really what it is about is destruction. But leftists are eating it up like candy. And you have to ask the question, why? And we've been able to, I think, diagnose this correctly, which is, well, leftism has always been, but has accelerated their capacity for self-loathing. In the pursuit of power, there is nothing they won't vote for. In the pursuit of power, they will vote for a Ugandan communist to be in charge of the center of capital in all of America. What the hell is that? Again, it's just plain as, oh, that's a shame. Okay, that's good. Sean Davis can't join us today. He's my Nashville buddy. Tomorrow he will be on here to diagnose this. We have a stacked show. What is that exactly? Well, we track it back to the left refusing to believe in God. The left believes in God at a rate of approximately 50%. Republicans believe in God 93%. There's your difference in the party. There's your difference in this map. Keep the map up. There's your difference in the map. This is your difference in how this vote. I bet you'd be able to track that right here. This is why belief in God is so critical and essential to our national ethos and to who we are as a people, because it is one of those things, especially when our nation gets flooded with 150 newcomers, criminal and legal, aliens from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, in a what has to be simply a plot to atomize our nation, to rip the things that used to connect us together. One of the last final bonds that we have is that we believe in God together, that we believe that the government isn't God, that God is God. And what comes with that belief? If you can just say that, whatever denomination of Christianity you come from, you know, even if you're just like spiritual, right? I think that Elon Musk believes in God. I think that people like Jared Isaacman, our NASA, who was our NASA administrator nominee, who's in his hearing today, he said so on stage, that he believes in God, that he's spiritual. If you can at least say that, then you know that you're not God. And that's like the first great step. And what comes with that? What comes with that is that you believe that God created you and that you were created for a purpose. And that purpose is going to drive motivations in your life, like God's first command to all of us, which is to go be fruitful and multiply. But you're seeing population collapse to critical levels in the West as we like move away from Christendom, as we move away from God. You can see population collapse goes hand in hand with populations that stop believing in God, stop believing in the motivation to continue to have children, to continue to create families, and to say that like my life actually means something. If you live like that, then you're going to live extremely depressed. You're going to think that maybe you were born in the wrong body, you were born in the wrong gender, that God hates you, that God doesn't exist at all, that he didn't make man and woman. And you're going to have a worldview that is far more about like tearing down than it is about building up and creating. And so when I look at results like this, like how could Nashville vote for somebody who so obviously hates Nashville? And by the way, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's just go ahead and listen to her talk about it. Here's her in her own words. This was the Democrat candidate to represent Nashville. Go.
I've been heavily involved with the Nashville mayoral race because I hate the city, I hate the bachelorettes, I hate the pedal taverns, I hate country music, I hate all of the things that make Nashville apparently an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it. Yeah, I'm that girl at the airport that all these bachelorettes are giddy walking out in their two-toned colored Pantone pink shirts, and they walk out and I'm like, they're like, oh my god, Nashville is so bad.
They're so loud.
You're Democrats in Nashville, by 80%, voted, 80% of Nashville voted for Afton Ben, the lady that said she hates Nashville. If there was even remotely a chance for her to win, it would have been to flood Nashville. Here, let's go ahead and zoom in, please, on Nashville. Is it 77%? Zoom in on those results. Yeah, okay. So 77% of Nashville voters for somebody who hates it. What does that mean exactly? Well, again, if you go through Nashville today, you'll find that it's not really the southern town that you might have thought it was or remembered it to be. It's certainly not the Johnny Cash, style of country music, southern recording town any longer. It is every bit of a liberal city. All of the biscuit shops have been replaced with bagel shops. All of the country music swagger has been replaced with metropolitan liberalism. And the Hollywood of the South has again decided to vote for somebody who hates what made Nashville, Nashville. And you're going to just kind of extrapolate this on a much larger plane. Throughout the country, this is happening. The left is deciding to vote in order to destroy the places that they control, to change them forever. As Barack Obama famously said, like and we really should have taken him at his word, this is about a fundamental transformation of what America is. Now, they promised to do this at scale, and I'm really happy about what happened last night. My takeaway on this, don't listen to the doomers. Don't listen to the people screaming the sky is falling here. This district voted 22% for Trump in the election, and people are saying, oh, they only voted 10%. And they cut it in half or more. This only, like, you had a 65% return on the polls in the 2024 election, because it was a national election. There's an extreme amount of hype around it. And this was a special election, got around 20% of the district to show up, and probably hyper accelerated by voter drives in Nashville, where people are far more condensed and their voter blocks are far more distilled into buildings and units and Section 8 housing. And this is how Democrats are able to churn out votes, and Democrats are able to win on a national scale. I'm not sure that they'll ever be able to win again, frankly, on a national scale once we get the 2030 census. Be fully in favor of redoing the 2020 census because that was rigged. But as you can see, and as is demonstrated on the map behind me, all of America is effectively just a red country with teeny little blue dots. And it is inside of those cities that Democrats try and manipulate the votes, to carve out votes, and to run these garbage candidates like they ran last night. The country is with us. I think this is a very solid result. Again, it's not even a midterm election. It's just I think it's the district voting entirely aligned with what the Cook Political Report would show if you had simply a 20% turnout, which is what they had last night for the district. You can see here, neither candidate even got 100,000 votes. So the winner, Matt Van Epps, got 96,000 votes total. And the loser, Afton Ben, got 81. So she loses by 9 points. And we walk away saying, no, I think things are just fine here. So don't believe all the sky is falling, freaking out. This is a great win for the president. This just sort of shows that the country, I think, is solidly positioned for a year of wins if the president's administration is locking in, which I know that they are, and getting very, very serious about domestic policy moving forward. I can say this as members of the base and as people who speak to the base every single day. I am just really tired of the foreign focus. I know that it is really dripping with, let me say this in a what will be a smartly structured sentence. I know it's tempting because we have military bases in every country, and because there's wars all over the world, and because, frankly, it is a tough landscape that America's been drawn into by idiot leadership all around the globe. But I'm telling you that the American people are calling out to be put first, to put Ukraine wars, Israeli wars, to put all wars like behind us, to have a major and extreme focus on our nation, affordability, housing crisis, food crisis in our nation. And that if we are able to do that in the next year, then we will be able to retain the House and the Senate, and President Trump will not have to go through endless impeachments and a series of losses. Man, it's gonna make 2018. It's gonna make Nancy Pelosi being in charge in 2018 through 2020 look mild. What they plan on doing to the administration. You think things are getting stopped up right now? Give Hakeem Jeffries the gavel in the House. No, I think that there's plenty of landing room and plenty of runway for the ship to be turned around. It is a $31 trillion ship, the American economy. It takes some time to turn. And so we are going to be efforting with this show, with the best that we have, with the administration and all of the access that we have, to continually and constantly push for the policies to be focused purely domestically. Because what we have, if we win this next election, if we win this next cycle, what we have is the 2030 map. And I just want to set your eyes on what must be done here, because we've already won. The game is already set match for us. If we can just lock in this midterm cycle, if we can just get through the 2026 and 2028 elections, then what stands before us is a map that makes a national election virtually unwinnable for a Democrat. I know it's a dangerous thing to say, but this is what 100 years of America First and MAGA looks like. You can see that Texas and Florida are gaining net 10 seats. This is based on the liberal AP's estimates, but this is based on conservative estimates and projections. Ladies and gentlemen, California, New York, blue states across the Midwest, Oregon losing seats. Other Republican states gaining seats like Idaho and Arizona and Utah. I know we show this map a lot, but you don't let the doomers and don't let the black pillars take this away from you. Now, Democrats have proven time and time again that they can rig the census. That's what they're trying to do with criminal immigration. Rig the census against the Republican Party, against the will of the people, against the actual writing of our Constitution. And you can get a broken system that can steal congressional seats. Ron DeSantis very full-throatedly argues that Democrats stole congressional seats from Florida in the 2020 census. We mustn't allow this to happen. But for this to happen properly, you need to have a properly counted and appointed census. That starts in 2028. That is why these next few years are going to be so critical to the future of the country. What lies before us is a map that makes it impossible for a radical Democrat to win in a national election. It becomes an impossibility because of their own stupidity, because of the genius of our founders. And this Tennessee election proves it. Because of the genius of our founders, we have an opportunity to realign the Democrat Party. Now, it's not up to us to do any work for them. I'm not a member of that party, but I think that it would be much better in our country if we had parties that were focused on Americans. I know, it's a crazy worldview. If we had political parties that were focused exclusively on serving the needs of the American people. America first, America only. And I would argue that, at least when I was born, like there was a time when the parties were far more aligned to that goal. During the 1990s, when I was sort of coming of age, I was a very little boy, but like I just remember that Bill Clinton signed massive tax cuts that were foisted upon him from a Republican Congress. I remember that Bill Clinton was really proud about cutting the deficit and that he was effectively joining hand in hand with Republicans. He's still a scumbag. Don't get me wrong. I want him in prison for everything with Epstein. But he was a very different Democrat. He was an unrecognizable Democrat. Look at what Bill Clinton was saying about illegal immigration in the 1990s. Criminal immigration, the protection of American workforce, the protection of unions, things that you couldn't even say, things that are maybe too right-wing for Donald Trump to say now, some 30 years later. And so I liked that America. The way to realign the country is to make it impossible with this map and with election victories. We just need 2 more victories. We just need to keep the House and Senate in 2026, and we need JD in 28. And so all you need are just these 2 elections. I know it's going to be a lot. I know that like hell on earth, all of the globalists are going to throw everything they possibly can to defeat. This is the final ride for them. World Economic Forum brain children were up. What's the name of that guy? No, not Klaus. It's like his little right-hand man saying this is the if Trump wins, this is the end of globalism. We're this close. This is the end of globalism if Trump wins. Oh man, what's his name? The guy's purely wicked. Again, I'm getting over the flu, so I'm like kind of I'm cloudy headed here. ALX, sorry, Danny's on today producing. ALX is at Jared Isaacman's confirmation hearing. Yeah. What's his name? No, dude. No, bro. No, bro. I'm just going to prove it to you. Here's what Bill Clinton was saying in the 1995 State of the Union. This would be seen as a hate crime today. I think there's a way to get this country back. I see it very clearly. Have a listen.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
What is that? Could you imagine today? Could you imagine? There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. President Trump on the victory last night, and we have Yuval Harari. That's the name that I was searching for. Again, I thank all of you. We're literally feverish and sweating in the studio. We will never stop. We will come into work. We will bark until our voice cracks. We will show up for you, rain or shine. It just is what it is. You know what? It just is what it is. We're going to fight through flu season here together. Congratulations to Matt Van Epps on the big congressional win in the great state of Tennessee. The radical left Democrats threw everything they had at him, including millions of dollars. Another great night for the Republican Party. DJT, congratulations. Big win, President DJT. The map is just crazy considering the fact that this lady hates Nashville. Nashville voted for her. This is self-loathing, atomizationist, Democrat behavior. Here's the graphic that President Trump posted. A massive win. And here is the victory speech for Matt Van Epps. Really great speech where he's like, listen, stop trying to run away from Trump, America first, and MAGA. This is how we win. Go.
First and foremost, I want to thank God for his guidance and grace every step of the way. To my incredible wife, Meg, and our beautiful daughter, thank you for standing beside me through this fight. Every long day, every late night, you were my rock. You're why I ran. You kept me going, and I love you so much. Thank you. To President Donald J. Trump, thank you, sir. Your endorsement made the difference, and I will never forget it. Thank you. Thank you. The military taught me what it means to be part of a team, to trust the person next to you, to stay mission-focused, and to never leave anyone behind. That's the same spirit I'll take to Washington, because this campaign has never been about one person. It's about we, the people. I've heard your stories, and I will be your fighter.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a separate clip that Danny is getting right now, he talks about how it is stupid to run away from Trump. Trump is the Republican Party, and America First is the future of the Republican Party. There is no other. I can't believe that wasn't in the clip, but we're grabbing it right now. Contrast that, please, with Atifin Ben. So I don't know how to say her name. I won't try and learn it. Apparently, she's going to run again, which I'm thrilled about. And let's go ahead and listen to this screechy lady start lecturing all of us. By the way, a reminder, she is flanked by the Nashville City Council women behind her.
And tonight, because I believe in Southern hospitality, I called the Congressman-elect, Matt Van Epps, and I had one question for him. What will define what happens next? Do not let the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire. Do not raise healthcare costs for working families in Tennessee. But this...
Okay. So Matt Van Epps got a lecture from a lady in what was that exactly? See this like giant bedazzled, what is that exactly? Put it back on screen. Thank you. What, if you hate Nashville and then you show up looking like a 1950s Dolly Parton-esque bedazzled palm tree shirt there with the United Nations behind you, dodged a bullet. Dodged a bullet. Also, you can always tell with people, like, play the clip again. You can always tell people with conviction. Okay, so even on days when I'm sick and feverish as I am today, and I'm like fighting back cough, we're just like talking off the top of the dome. Like, these are things that I believe and things that I've like thought about, and I don't claim to be the smartest person around. I certainly am not, but at least I speak from the heart, and what I say, I mean. And that's why we don't have to go back and like apologize on this program. That's why our clips age like fine wine, at least from our perspective. That's why so many of our clips go viral long after we broadcast them. ladies and gentlemen, when you're a candidate and you have to read this much, when you're a candidate and you have to constantly be staring at an iPad, look at her, look at this. What if you do the whole, like, what if you did the whole show like this? It's always like something that drives me insane. When people don't have any conviction and they just read like this from a prompter. You don't believe what you're saying. That's what you're telling people, okay? I'm right here. The camera's like 2 feet from my face, and we're locked in the entire show because I believe what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, that's right. Nothing was worse than Cardi B. That's right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. Yuval Harari clip is loaded. Thank you. And then the thank you, the Matt Van Epps clip I wanted to play. Here we go. Don't run from Trump. Run with Trump. Very smart. Let's go.
I say this to my friends in the liberal media and to the professional panickers in my own party. Tonight we showed running from Trump is how you lose. Running with Trump is how you win.
There you go. There we go. Okay, correct. And thank you, Ashley. Ashley stepping in again. ALX's executive producer at ALX is at a confirmation hearing for our friend Jared Isaacman. Please say a prayer for Jared Isaacman, NASA administrator, dear friend of the show, and a great dude. Yeah, Cardi B giving a speech at the Kamala rally. Remember this? Remember this?
Trump says he's going to protect women whether they like it or not. Well, if his definition of protection is not the freedom of choice.
It's so compelling. It's so smart. This is great. Is that the full clip? What's with these like 7-second clips? No. Wait a second. Whoa. Wait a second. Give me the teleprompter going out. Give me the teleprompter going out and let me know if Piers is on and ready to go. Piers was having some technical difficulties here. I know that we have a tight window with him. So let me know, producers. No. Get me her teleprompter going out. All right, we're going to do some clip jumping around here. Yuval Harari loaded. Hey, Ashley, you got Ashley and Jack. Jack, I'm going to start name dropping here. Get me Cardi B's teleprompter goes out. This was the problem. Her teleprompter goes out and then she has nothing to say. She has nothing to tell anyone. It's incredible, these people. There you go. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we got it? Yeah, all right. This is great. Okay. Okay, Piers is set. Okay, all right. All right, there we go. All right, just real fast here. Cardi B, teleprompter going out. And then we'll go to Piers, who doesn't never need a teleprompter. Let's go.
1 second, guys. 1 second.
I can't believe this happened. This isn't like an SNL sketch. This is real. This is real life.
Okay, so I don't take lightly the call. Sorry, guys, I'm a little nervous.
Her teleprompter's out.
I've been waiting for this moment
So
my whole life.
I've been waiting for that moment my whole life. She doesn't know what to say.
I need patience over here. Patience, where are you, girl? I need patience over here.
So embarrassing. So human. I mean, this is like
hold on. How you guys doing tonight?
This is like the biggest nightmare.
How you guys doing tonight? Are we ready to make history?
All right.
Are we ready to make history?
All right, enough. Are we ready to lose all 7 swing states and the popular vote and 90% of American counties? Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is somebody who is not an American, but someone who I love going on his program, somebody who is proud of his country, but got into quite a battle with Tucker Carlson the other day about the future of his country, the great Piers Morgan, joining us live. Piers, welcome to the program. Sorry for the little technical difficulty.
Well, no, it turns out that you're almost impenetrable to my tech system, other than this one laptop, which belongs to one of my team, that we now presume is some kind of psyop guy. So we've got through it.
All right. So Piers, you famously didn't say the F word, but you actually ended up having the woman on your program, which I thought was really honorable, who was put in prison, had 9 police officers arrest her for saying the F word on a text message after she was beaten. What did you learn from that? Her name's Elizabeth.
Well, I was pretty shocked when Tucker sprang that story on me. I didn't know the story. I hadn't seen it. It didn't get anything like the media coverage it ought to have got, and it should get more coverage now because it just seems so
funny how that happens.
Yeah, exactly. It seems so ridiculous that she's a young woman. She's a care worker, works in a care home, wants to be a registered nurse over here, and the bottom line was she says, and I've no reason to doubt her having interviewed her, that she'd been beaten up by a guy. She was getting treatment in hospital, including for head injuries, and that they had a mutual friend, another woman who was a friend of both her and of the guy who had beaten her up, and that she was venting from the hospital where she was getting treatment for the abuse she'd suffered to this other woman. And that in the course of venting, she used the F word, and I choose not to say it. People can say it if they want. It's up to them. It's a free country. But she used that word.
Because she's being arrested. You say it's a free country, but I'm in a free country.
I'm coming to that point. So I'm just saying.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry.
You are a free country. So I am perfectly able to say it in the confines of this show. But what it turns out is it would be very precarious, clearly, for anyone in Britain following what happened to this woman to say it in Britain. And that is completely outrageous. So the short version of what happened to her is that the woman she sent this rant to, and she was ranting about what had happened to her, about what this guy had done to her, in the course of which she uses this F word. And in the course of that, the woman then calls the police. And it was actually 11 or maybe 12 police turn up at her house. The door was unlocked, so they came in while she was having a bath, naked in her bath. Only one of the 12 police was a woman, and all these guys rampaged up into her bathroom. I mean, it's completely invasive and appalling, and when you consider what she was supposed to have done, outrageous. So she then gets taken off, she gets prosecuted, and she's basically convicted. And she's given not a prison sentence, but a community service order. She has to attend classes and meetings, she has a criminal record and so on. And all for using a word where she comes from in the north of England, she says a lot of people use just in normal vernacular. It's not intended as a homophobic slur. It can be used about straight people. It can be used as a kind of this guy's an F whatever. And she didn't mean it in a derogatory way against gay people, which is why in this country it is considered to be something you can't use. Now, this raises so many terrible issues in my country. It comes off the back, as you know, a series of attacks on free speech. We've had 12,000 people arrested for stuff they've posted or put into messages and so on. Yes. But the idea that in a free democratic society, you can't use a word like that to someone you know without potentially having 12 police officers racing into your house to arrest you when crime is on the rampage in my country is outrageous.
I know we're short on time here, but maybe you could correct me. I don't spend a lot of time traveling internationally. I don't go to England often, but I've grown up thinking that an English word for a cigarette is a fag. Is that correct?
Right. And actually, a faggot...
So is that a hate crime?
A faggot, if you use it about a foodstuff, which it is in parts of England, is not offensive at all. It's only when you use it against gay people that it's deemed to be a homophobic slur.
But then aren't you implying intent, as though the law somehow understands how someone is using a word, and the law is aren't you playing God then in this situation?
I think so. And of course, in America, none of this makes any sense. You can be very offensive, but you're not going to have the police raiding your home. Right. I mean, look, if I'd been smart, probably in the moment with Tucker, I'd have said, look, Tucker, there are words you wouldn't use. And I'd have said to him, you wouldn't use the M word. I don't think you would have done, right? So there are clearly, in any free democratic society, there are certain words that people don't use unless they want to reveal themselves to be proper racists, right? So we understand that. So there are clearly some limitations in normal society. But I do think in this case, she definitely didn't intend to use it as a derogatory slur against gay people, because the person she was using it about is straight.
And that's something that doesn't compute for us in America, is because even if you use the N word, or the F word, or whatever, C word, or whatever ugly word you wish to use, you're not going to be arrested for it.
Right. And that's the crux.
That's
of the
actual
free
freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is speech that I disagree with being said, that may offend me, but that doesn't mean that I get to shoot that person or kill that person or behave violently against that person or arrest that person, right?
Right. And we've just had this story of Graham Linehan, the Father Ted creator, the comedian, who, if you remember, posted some jokes on X, which were jokes about the ongoing farce of trans people occupying women's spaces and competing against women in women's sport and so on. And he's been at the forefront of campaigning against this, trying to protect women's rights, and I applaud him for it. And he put some jokes up, which actually were obvious jokes. They weren't that offensive unless you're massively oversensitive. But regardless, they're jokes. He put them up in April, and 3 months later, he comes into the UK, and at Heathrow Airport, 5 armed police are waiting for him to arrest him. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. Now, the only small crumb of comfort is that in that case, the police, under huge pressure from the public backlash that came their way, said 2 things. One, we're not going to prosecute Linehan, but secondly, we're not going to prosecute anyone again for this kind of thing. So there is, I'm thankful to say, movement in the right direction on this, driven by public outrage that in a country that purports to be one of the homes of free speech, we now appear to be weaponizing it to the degree where you get arrested and put in a prison cell.
So how are you going to stay out of jail, given the fact that you're going to have Nick Fuentes on your show in a couple days?
Well, it's going to be very interesting.
How are you going to stay out of prison, Piers?
Well, that's going to be the big question. Spending an hour or 2 with Nick Fuentes. And, these are interesting questions because, of course, my show airs around the world. There are many parts of the world where none of this matters. In America, I'm not going to be arrested for my speech. But there are, as we know, the social media platforms have their own rules. In fact, the very F word we've been discussing is banned on X, for example, by Elon Musk, who's one of the kings of free speech. So if you use it on X, you get a warning, and if you keep using it, you'll get your account pulled. So so this is because, of course, X is a global social media platform. So there's lots of stuff going on around this issue of speech. Ultimately, though, I'm with you. You should be free to say whatever you want to say without being arrested. Doesn't mean you avoid accountability by an employer, for example. They can make their own mind up about whether they think you're a suitable employer for their business. But I do not think the state, through police, should be arresting people for things they say. And if you do that, then you become a police state and a totalitarian state of the kind that you and I would have hoped most people in the US and UK would profess to think would be horrific.
Very quickly here, do you then classify the current UK government as a totalitarian state?
Well, they're certainly behaving like it. And I want to see much, much stronger leadership from the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. I want to see him out there front and center, attacking these kind of things when they happen and defending vigorously people's right to free speech, particularly in private communication. I mean, remember, this is a private text message. Yes. It would be like me saying it to you calling the police, and then 12 police in America turning up at my house to arrest me. It just wouldn't happen. So your First Amendment affords you far greater protection currently than the UK system is affording UK citizens.
I think it's extremely honorable. Obviously people took that debate between you and Tucker, and that thing went thermonuclear, and it was really funny, and everyone was sharing it. But your reaction was deeply honorable. You had that woman on your program to tell her story. Most people would have ran away or perhaps been, I don't know, just wanted to get away from the issue. You went head on and brought Elizabeth Kinsey on your show. I encourage everybody to go watch. You also just made a point, Piers, about the consequences of ugly speech. And I believe in that, by the way, especially with employers like the Oxford Union, for instance. The president, George R. Barnier, perhaps I'm saying that incorrectly, but nonetheless, he celebrated the death of my friend Charlie Kirk, and he did so not once, not twice, 3 times. He joked about it. Charlie Kirk had just been at the Oxford Union debating him, and so you'd think there'd be at least some professionalism or some human decency there. You and I debate on your show. We often disagree. I often disagree with your other guests. It makes for, good, robust free speech environment. But this is monstrous, and he was given his job back. I think that he still holds the position after having, he's gone back and forth.
So
okay.
Just to clarify, he was the president-elect, so he was the incoming president, replacing the incumbent, and he was voted in and was going to take up the position. But to double down on what you just said, this guy stood opposite Charlie Kirk back in April, May at the Oxford Union, which is one of the most well-known and highly regarded debating societies in the world. Literally where people come together to debate different points of view. And he, in reacting to Charlie Kirk's shooting, and you're showing it now to your viewers, Charlie Kirk got shot, let's effing go, right? And then he also did LOL as another one. This was a guy celebrating someone being shot for exercising their right to free speech. And not just that, Charlie Kirk was the person that used to go in to university campuses up and down the country in America and sit and challenge people to come and debate with him and to prove him wrong. He couldn't be a better. So what they found, free and open exchange of views and opinions, and both parties expressing their right to freedom of speech and expression. So there they are together at the Oxford Union, and they're literally 4 months later, he's gleefully celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk. And luckily, the students who voted him in saw sense, and he's now not going to be the president of that union. Of course, he couldn't be. It's not a free speech issue. How can you be president of a debating society if you think it's fine and indeed something to celebrate if people are shot dead for their free speech? It's preposterous.
It is preposterous. It's something that I was alerted to actually a decade ago in England when Margaret Thatcher died. This was the first time that I saw the left take to the streets to celebrate the death of somebody that they disagreed with. It was radicalizing for me. Yeah. I believe this was 2015. Maybe I'm wrong on that date, but it was a while ago. It was the first time I've ever seen that, Piers. What is that exactly?
I actually thought that the reaction to Charlie Kirk's death from many on the left in America was almost as disgusting as the act of his murder in itself. Because I saw people who were professors at universities, or doctors, or nurses, or teachers who were posting stuff on social media, glorifying and celebrating this murder, this cold-blooded murder of a young husband and father. Never mind anything else. That's what he was in his life, in front of his wife and kids. I mean, it was just extraordinary to me that people would want to be seen who are in positions of responsibility and in many cases caring for other human beings were prepared to boast about being so incredibly callous. But again, it comes back to accountability. Many of them lost their jobs. And people on the left immediately screamed, hypocrites, it's disgusting. Why are you calling for us to be cancelled? Actually, that isn't what happened. Their employers took a view that if you're a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or a professor and you glorify in the murder of somebody, you are not a fit person for your job. That's called accountability. It's not an infringement of your free speech rights. You're allowed to do it and you're allowed to say it, but you're not allowed to evade accountability, whoever you are.
Very quickly, Piers, I know that you have to go, but I just wanted to get your take on this as it caused quite a brouhaha on my timeline. You said that there's a lot of white English people that you would trade for a good weekly chicken tikka masala.
Yeah.
Would you trade any other groups of people in England?
Well, yeah, of course
for
I
food?
would. And nobody has actually asked me, so thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, this is
who I meant by a lot of white English people. It was people like Tommy Robinson and his followers who'd been spewing the most horrific racist abuse in the last 3 weeks or so. And I would quite happily swap Tommy Robinson for a chicken tikka masala. The general point I was making is that I believe that my country, England, is not fallen. It's not stricken. It's not been invaded by foreigners. I believe there are genuine, legitimate issues in our country about the way immigration has been handled. But we are and remain a template, actually, of how multiculturalism can work. However, I have also been supportive of people like Robinson when they've been exposing the grooming gangs and things like that. I don't pretend there aren't issues with immigration. I do hit back at the idea that my country is fallen and that somehow England or London in particular has been run over and it's like Armageddon here. Honestly, come to England, come to London. I'll take you out for a chicken tikka masala or a fish and chips, and you won't see a country that's fallen. But you will see that successive governments on left and right have woefully mishandled our immigration strategy. So look, it was a bit of what we would call in England, Benny, a wind-up. You know when you go fishing and you just go, and you catch a few people in your net? It was designed for people like Tommy Robinson, who, if he's watching, Tommy, if you have a problem with my joke, come on my show. You've been bottling it. We both know why you're bottling it. You prefer to do interviews with people who don't ask you difficult questions about what you stand for and what you've been up to. Come on the show and let's have it out. And we can do it over a chicken tikka masala.
So you would trade the grooming gangs, though, for
100%.
Yes.
Listen, there are bad people in my country and your country of all skin colors, all religious persuasions, all types of classes, and I would trade many of them in my country for a chicken tikka masala, as I would in the United States. So I'm really addressing, I think, a lot of the worst elements who talk about immigration, because I don't think it's been amplified in the correct manner. And what we've seen is a legitimate debate often being hijacked by extremists on all sides. And I'm making that point where I think we need to have a more measured, considered debate about what the real issues are and how we deal with it without tumbling into racism or, on the other side, defense of the indefensible with people who hid and covered up the grooming gang scandal for so long. Both to me are equally unpalatable, and I would swap both sides of that coin for a chicken tikka masala.
Piers Morgan proving why Tucker Carlson calls him the greatest proponent of the First Amendment and free speech in all of the whole of England. Ladies and gentlemen, with his new book, Woke is Dead, available now, a top bestseller in the entire world. You can follow Piers right here. He's got 8.6 million subscribers on X. Thank you, Piers, very much for your time.
Great to talk to you, mate. Thank you very much.
See you. How do you go about actually engaging in debate with people? There's some things that I disagreed with Piers Morgan saying he'd trade white people for a curry dish. Well, are there other groups of people you'd trade for like clean streets and less rape of little kids? Yeah, like is that what you do? And you know what? Like the beauty of having people that engage in good faith debate is being able to ask that question without like bloody screaming at each other, right? And somebody slamming their laptop closed. I think that was a great and I think that was a perfect answer. Klein, can you please make sure that we get the local recordings of that as well? Yeah. Thank you. All right. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that did bother me when Piers said that. I thought Piers had a very fascinating debate with Tucker Carlson. I believe that there are naughty and ugly words that I choose not to say publicly, like on a live stream to tens of thousands of people. But that doesn't mean you should be arrested for using them. And as I've said before on the Nick Fuentes question, our right to free speech, association, and free thought is derived from God. I'm against cancellation. I'm against punishment for free speech. I'm against censorship. And I'm a purist on that. And I think I've become actually more radical on that, frankly, over the last few years. And so I look forward to the debate, frankly, between Piers Morgan and Nick Fuentes. And what an interesting thing, what a wonderful thing that we can have that. In conclusion to all of this, because there's been so much cowardice on this question on the right. I know I've spoken about it in other interviews, but I haven't really done a full show on it. This is the pressure release valve. Like, listen, Nick Fuentes going on Piers Morgan's show, doing interviews like with guys that Piers is going to disagree with him, right? That's the pressure release valve for both sides. The way things get bottled up and careen out of control, and where there is like a cascade of anger and depression and the worst ideas and ideologies, is when no one talks to each other at all, when people isolate and balkanize. And that's the worst result. That's how you end up with people saying, I'll just shoot him, I'll just kill him. That's how you end up with that. Having robust, peaceful debate about ideas is how the best ideas get to the top, and how the best worldviews are able to like sort of clash against each other, right? And you shouldn't be scared of that at all. It's just words and ideas. That's what the country's built on, damn it. When people stop talking and when they start shooting people they disagree with, that's the enemy, actually. Not good faith debate, even with people who have ugly ideas or say naughty words. That is not your enemy. Your enemy is the people taking up guns and killing those they disagree with. And that's happening, by the way, at scale right now in the country. We should pray about it. Pray with the Hallow app, please, this Christmas. This Christmas is a wonderful time to reconnect with God, to reconnect with your Lord and Savior and your purpose in life. And this is a time more important than ever to make sure that you are at peace. Peace on earth. I'm doing my level-headed best to make sure that we're at peace. Oh, sorry, guys, that I'm coughing. It just is what it is. I've been telling you, I've had like the flu for a week, and we're just trying to get over it. They're launching on Hallow a beautiful Advent program with the challenge, Pray 25 and Be Still. It's led by incredible guides like Jonathan Romaine of The Chosen, Sir Miriam, Chris Pratt, Gwen Stefani, and many more. Goodness. It is an important time to, again, like reconnect with God and be at peace. Make sure that you are at peace this holiday season. You can get 3 months free of Hallow right now at hallow.com/Benny. Join the thousands of others preparing their hearts for the coming of Christ this season. Again, that's hallow.com/Benny. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful thing. Trump freezes all immigration applications from 19 countries as White House prepares to expand travel ban to more than 30 nations. Hell yeah. This is awesome. This is the travel ban that we saw in Trump's first administration. 19 different either failed states, terrorist states, or states that, of course, again, failed the first test of whether you should be allowed in America, which is, would you make a good American? That's the test. Would you like to live in the country we're taking people from? Would the country of Afghanistan or Somalia or Cuba or Haiti, that are all on the list, would they make good American states? Of course they wouldn't. Would you want to live there? Of course you don't. The people who live there don't want to live there. Well, then why on earth are we bringing that ideology? Why are we bringing that culture to our shores? It's insane. It makes no sense. It will lead to zero assimilation, and it will lead to further fractioning of our American experience. You want to wonder why there's low birth rates throughout the nation? Well, it's because people feel hopeless, quite frankly, as they look out at the country. So this is a good first step. We need a pause. Hopefully, I think we know, as a matter of fact, our next guest, Senator Rick Scott, believes in that pause. And, well, I would love to make this permanent. Maybe we could pass some bills based on this. Senator Rick Scott joining the show live now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Scott had a what is called a technical error. Piers Morgan had a little technical error on the program as well, and so I guess we'll just keep rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, let the producers work on it. It's always like this when ALX is off the show. Isn't it like this, Klein? Every single time. It's always these shows. All right. I think we'll just book Klein as the guest for the rest of the year. Make the graphics, Jamie. We'll just have Klein as our permanent in-studio guest, okay? We'll just talk UFC the whole rest of the time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, probably not the best time to talk about connectivity here, as we've had problems with both our guests. Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is who keeps us connected. We're having no problems in the studio, right, Klein? Our studio feed is crisp and clear. We run our show off Patriot Mobile. Piers and Senator Scott both dropped and dipped and Piers had to jump on different devices in order to make it work. We're thankful that he did. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Mobile keeps us locked and loaded. It is the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the world. They're giving you the same or better coverage as the main carriers. I'm talking premium coverage. We get it every single day as we travel the country. They offer unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny today. Call 972-PATRIOT and use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Okay, let's go ahead and check in on the travel ban. We have a report here, and we also have a list of the countries that are, you can see here on a map, that you are not allowed to travel to America from. Now, many of them are Muslim countries. All of them are effectively failed states. Many of them are hotbeds of terrorism. And, well, it's obviously a net positive. And what's amazing about this is that they are actually pausing all naturalization ceremonies from these countries for anyone who is about to become an American citizen. They're getting cancellation notices saying that their applications are being re-reviewed right now. Good. It should be extremely hard to become an American. It should be the hardest thing around. A lot of the people from these countries just got on probably a first-class ticket, paid for by an NGO and shipped in here. They were brought here without any thought, without any vetting, without any consideration. You know, the ancestors who came here, it was very difficult to do so. It took a lot of work. You're taking your life in your own hands. It is a totally different thing to migrate to a first world country on a first class ticket than to immigrate across an ocean on a wooden ship and to leave your entire life behind and to fully assimilate because, well, quite frankly, it was an assimilation population. It was a European and Christian population that was coming here. It's totally different now today. And you can see here on sort of the archipelago of failed states here, like, why are we taking anyone from any of these countries? You have no right to become an American. Has anybody made the case to the American people? I mean, this is what I'm asking for. I'm open-minded. Has anybody made the case for the American people that someone from Sudan should be allowed here? You know what's allowed in Sudan and Libya? Slavery, modern-day slavery. We fought to destroy that practice in America. Why are we taking modern-day slavers into the country? What are we doing? Sierra Leone is the same thing. Congo? Why are we taking people from these countries? Like there's no, even if you are the biggest far left liberal, there's no definitional explanation that you can provide to me that says these people are going to make, like, this is going to be congruent with Western civilization, because I can see the country. You don't want Sudan to be broken off and added as an American state. You wouldn't want to visit there. So why bring that culture here? It is regressive, actually. It's not progressive, it's regressive. Why don't you go to Sudan and ask about women's rights, children's rights, children being kidnapped, sold as child brides. This is the era, slavery, child brides, and inbreeding. You can go check with the United Nations. Benny, you're such a right-winger. You're so extremist. You're so offensive. Go check with the United Nations, dude, about like where those practices are happening. Just right now, there are 10 million people in modern-day slavery. What is considered slavery by UN definitional standards, okay? And they're from these countries. So don't tell me that you care about women's rights or, like, I don't know, the lives of children. You don't, clearly. You're for abortion up to the point of birth and afterwards. No, it's totally evil. It's indefensible, and it's time to, like, start talking about it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Fox on the travel ban.
So the Trump administration now pausing all immigration applications from 19 countries it's determined to be high risk, and that number could grow. Lucas Tomlinson is live from Washington with this changing story. Lucas.
Good morning, Brian. Foreign nationals from more than 24 countries could be barred from entering the United States under an expanded travel ban being considered by President Trump. This comes in the wake of the shooting last week of 2 West Virginia National Guardsmen here in Washington, just a few blocks from the White House, killing 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and critically wounding 24-year-old Andrew Wolf. Attorney General Pam Bondi says justice will be served and provided an update on Staff Sergeant Wolf.
The monster will be held accountable who did this. Andy is doing well. His parents, Melody and Jason, wanted me to tell you, and I was with them yesterday in the hospital. He's a miracle. I was there when the surgeons came in, and they wanted you to know this.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio spoke to Sean Hannity last night and offered this frank admission about vetting immigrants.
You can vet what people have done in the past. You can't vet what people might do in the future. There's another dynamic at play here, and that is you could allow someone into our country who has no history of radicalization. Perhaps they even have worked with you in the past, but they are susceptible to radicalization once they enter the United States because they don't assimilate well, because they fall victim to some of this online propaganda and efforts to radicalize people. And 2 or 3 years later, you find that they have radicalized. That is a threat. That is a real threat.
Here's a map showing the current list of travel ban countries, which includes Afghanistan, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Cuba, and Venezuela. DHS says it could be announcing the new travel ban list soon. Now, yesterday, the man accused of shooting the 2 National Guardsmen made a virtual appearance in D.C. Superior Court to face charges, including first-degree murder. He pled not guilty. Afghan national Ramanullah Lakhanwal had served with the CIA paramilitary 0 units in Afghanistan during the war and was assigned to the Kandahar Strike Force. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Court documents say the shooter yelled Allahu Akbar, which is God is greatest in Arabic, as he shot both victims in the head. Brian.
We're not the only country where this happens. I'm sick of this happening. We don't have it at hand, and I apologize to all of it. We're already down like ALX today, so I've been asking for quite a few assets today. And we've also had major technical difficulties with our guests, and so again, just apologize. Sometimes the shows just go like this. I'm not going to ask for one more asset, but man, there's a map of where terrorism happens in Europe. We showed you the soul-crushing footage of Christmas parades being stormed by Muslims and pro-Palestinian protesters, and them having to put up massive barricades for the Christmas markets. It sucks, man. There it is. Yeah, it's sickening. It's sickening. This stuff didn't exist, and it's time to start talking about it. I don't like terrorist attacks in my country. We've lost a National Guardsman, and another National Guardsman is clinging to life because we imported terrorists to our nation. This is not what a map of Europe, this is not what a map of terrorism in Europe looked like 50 years ago. 20 years ago, even. But you've seen in all of these countries that the importation of people from all around terrorist hotbeds, the incompatibility with the West. And it's worth speaking about. It's worth, we have to talk about it. How much longer can this go on? Now, you'll notice that countries that take 0 immigrants have 0 terrorism. I'm not saying all immigrants are terrorists. I'm saying that when you're taking people from terrorist hotbeds all around the world, but specifically Muslim countries, and you're bringing them into an incongruent society, that of course they're going to say yes to going there, but they're saying that because it's so much better than the nation that they come from, or they're cripplingly poor and impoverished. They're going to flood in from Syria, but there's an enormous amount of terrorism in Syria. I mean, the guy running Syria is a member of ISIS, right? The dude was got a $10 million bounty on his head. So I've had enough of this. This has been a failed experiment, and it's time to get smart as a people about what's actually going on here. Ladies and gentlemen, get smart with your blackout coffee. It is filling my cup this morning, and boy, I've needed my coffee this morning. Holy moly, what a show! At least we got the PIERS interview done. Apparently, everyone hates me for that interview. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. We do our best around here, and well, sometimes it's yeah. How are you going to stay out of jail having Nick Fuentes on? See, that's being tweeted. All right, good. Great. More coffee. Let's go. Need more caffeine. Ladies and gentlemen, these are good questions, and I do my level-headed best to have good faith arguments and debates with people on the program. I do that powered by caffeine. Even when I'm running on empty, I make sure that what is pulsating through my veins is the blackout coffee caffeine in my empty cup here. That's a problem. It's made right here in Florida. It's damn good coffee. It's made by patriots and people who love this country. It's small batch. It's roasted in-house by Americans. Enough of this Soviet and communist coffee from Seattle. Ladies and gentlemen, lock in with a company that has real belief in hard work, American values, and coffee that actually tastes like coffee. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 20% off your first order. Support the American dream. Drink Blackout. That's blackout.com/Benny. Stop settling and start drinking real coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, Trump has unleashed ICE strike teams on Somalis in Minnesota after National Guard shooting. Holy smokes. This is like the best article of the day. Donald Trump has unleashed the illegal immigrant Somali strike teams after the shooting of 2 National Guard troops in D.C. Strike teams made up of DHS agents and other federal officers deployed into Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities, sources say. Around 100 officers across the U.S. have been deployed on a new crackdown, which comes after the president clashed with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Walz's administration is under scrutiny after massive fraud perpetrated against the state welfare agencies by Somali migrants. Some of the funds have ended up in the hands of jihadis in North America. Oh, it's a small problem there, just in time for Christmas. Trump branded the Minnesota governor a retard and wanted Somali refugees to be completely taken over in Minnesota. The president is furious after Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom was shot dead, obviously rightfully so. This was an Afghan national, but nonetheless from a country similar to Somalia in the sense that it has the same adherence to Sharia law. It is antithetical to Western values. It is a hotbed for terrorism. It is a fallen and sunken society that essentially exists off piracy. That's Afghanistan and Somalia. And most importantly, when Somalis come here to America, they're not here to assimilate at all. They're not here to learn English. They're not here to observe Western traditions and customs. They're here to build Somalia here in America. Something I actually wanted to talk with Piers Morgan about. Like, at what point do we put an end? Like, at what point do you say, like, this is a failed experiment? This can't go on right now. President Trump saying that, and Tom Homan saying that the Twin Cities is going to see massive ICE crackdown. Let's go.
Secretary Nolan just talked about, just elevated their priority status. So, yes, there's going to be an increase of activity up there, and we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to enforce the law without apology. So, again, I've told every sanctuary city mayor, governor, you can stand aside and let us make your community safe and remove criminals. And even legal aliens that commit crimes that make themselves, that they're a resident alien, they commit a certain offense, a felony offense, even they're deportable and they'll be deported. We're going to enforce the laws of this country without apology, including in the Twin Cities.
When do you expect ICE to make its presence really known in the Twin Cities, Tom? Approximately.
I can't forecast that. I don't want to give up operations, but I can tell you that, Secretary Noem's all over it. I know ICE and CBP and other federal agencies, the FBI, DEA, ATF. President Trump's been a genius on this. He brings all the government to these operations. So if we arrest an alien with drugs, you got the DEA right there, can prosecute the case before we deport him. If you get him with a gun, you got ATF right there to prosecute the case before we deport him. But I can tell you, focus is there. It's coming. But I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people are on the ground now, how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
And Tom,
here's something that always strikes me about what the administration is doing right now in their enforcement. They don't have to write any new laws. Is that amazing? There's been no new push. I mean, I would obviously, if I were to get rid of one thing, I'd get rid of Hart-Celler. This is the 1965 Immigration Act that said effectively that we're going to allow endless and eternal infinity third world migration. This is an obscene act, and no one, it's like the people who are responsible for it, it's Lyndon Baines Johnson. Practically every modern evil was perpetrated on our nation by Lyndon Baines Johnson through an act of, I think, deep state sabotage. I mean, Lyndon Baines Johnson was obviously an emissary of the deep state, was our first deep state president, assisted, killed his president, JFK. I believe that in my heart of hearts, that he knew what was going to happen that day, that he had a major hand in setting it up. I'd love for the American people to learn more about that. And that in order to make that blood libel life swap so that he could become president, which was Lyndon Baines Johnson's entire dream and purpose in life, evil, godless man, truly a godless man, that what he then would use his presidency for is the pushing at scale, aggressively, and on a thermonuclear level, the policies of the deep state. And that's how you get the permanent welfare state in America today. That's how you get which of course led to the complete and total destruction of the black community. All of these policies, of course, have made America much worse, but you get the modern welfare state. You get the modern bureaucracy. You get so many modern bureaucracies out of LBJ. The massive and extraordinary increase here, you can see here, of third world immigration, because this Hart-Celler Act got rid of the quotas that we had on the third world, saying, hey, listen, like, these people are going to be incongruent with Western civilization. And they were right. But like this act, which again, this isn't to blame. I mean, you can't blame any modern generation for this, because in 1965, the people that were in Congress or the people that were in the Senate, they're long dead now. It's a totally different country then. And the ramifications of getting rid of all restrictions and then creating, what Hart-Celler did was create chain migration. So the point of Hart-Celler is that if you have an American here from a foreign land, that they can bring their entire family with them. That's the on-ramp to bringing the entire family with them. Like, all of the quotas be damned, all the numbers be damned. It won't count against the immigration numbers that we have. And so that's how you get hundreds of millions of legal immigrants into our nation because of this. And there's nothing racial about it. You can just look at the results. This country, and no country, has the capacity to absorb 150 million, like double the size of the country, without doubling the infrastructure, the housing supply, the food supply. The nation right now is creaking and breaking, and it has no end. So many of these immigrants then get on welfare. Of course, this is why we're $40 trillion in debt with no end in sight. Not because of the Pentagon budget. It's because of our welfare state. And you bring in people that never contributed to that welfare state. You're breaking the systems by doing that. And Hart-Celler is what did it. So I guess if there is one thing that I would get rid of, it would actually be getting rid of immigration laws, not passing more. The immigration laws on the books are all that's being enforced. Isn't that wild? Isn't that a wonderful thing? All you had to do was enforce the laws as they are written. Because, of course, the laws as they are written say you're not allowed to be a criminal alien in our country. You're not allowed to enter our country illegally. If you're here and your visa expires, you have to go. Like, these are just rules that we don't enforce at all. And that's all the Trump administration is doing, is enforcing the rules on the books. And judges go, that's racist. And that's why they lose time and time again at the Supreme Court, because it's not. What's actually racist is this act. This act in particular is racist against Native Americans. This act said we are going to flood the nation with immigrants from every corner of the earth, including the preponderance of third world immigrants that will be welfare recipients, and we're going to break all of the systems that are intended to protect you. The Native American that lives here, whose grandfathers died for this place, built this place, and screw you. You're not going to have any social safety nets. You're going to be priced out of a house. And more importantly, in times like BLM, we're going to force corporate America to fire white people and replace them with what? Peoples of color, I guess, what would be the correct term. You can see the statistics. Nearly 1 million white people lost their jobs in the corporate push of BLM after the George Floyd murders. And something like 1.3 million peoples of color got hired in their replacement. It's the great replacement. It's a matter of fact. It's numbers that they were proud of. And so that's just like prima facie, like that's just racism. It's just racism against white people. That's why I asked Piers the question, like, you said you'd trade white people for tiki masala. Would you trade any other group in your nation to, have lower waiting times at your your precious NHS, or have less rape gangs? I mean, important questions, obviously. But yeah, I mean, listen, this, and sorry for the rant here, but like this is a great generational evil. And it's not your fault. It's not even like if you're a baby boomer and you're watching this right now. Where were you in 1965? Like most baby boomers were either in diapers or in grade school in 1965. I know my parents were like 9 and 10 at this age. It's not their fault. It's actually the fault. It's that the people who passed this were the generation that won World War II. So why would you do this to your country? Exactly. You just fought a war to protect your country. Then just 2 decades later, 1945, we win the war. 2 decades later, you pass bills like this. What happened there? I'm doing a bunch of reading on it right now. I got to figure that out. You fought a war. Tons of people gave their lives to protect Western civilization and our ideals. And then you pass this to make sure that the nation in one generation doesn't reflect even remotely the country that you fought to protect. That's just a matter of fact. So what was that exactly? Why did you do that? We know who did that. So like, why? You want to talk about real self-loathing? Something we don't talk about. The greatest generation. Okay, not here to talk about rage bait. Obviously they did great things, but there were also like some really bad things that happened that generation was manipulated and were conned and were lulled to sleep, and they haven't seen it. And if you take a World War II veteran, actually, we've covered this. If you take a World War II veteran, the very few that are straggling and living today, God bless them. Seriously, it's not like, see, I'm not like here against them, but you take like those veterans from the Great Wars, and you put them on TV or you put a camera in front of them, and you say like, "What do you think of the country that you fought to protect?" They'll all say they'll say it to a man. What the hell did we do? They say it. They say it on camera. We have hundreds of clips of this. They'll say it to a man. Here's an English World War II veteran from D-Day. He says it's not worth the result. This is not what we fought for. This is worse than what we fought for. The things that we fought for, the boys that died over there, it's all gone down the drain. That's what 100-year-old veterans are saying now. Because they were lied to, scammed, because they were the first generation to be called racist. These policies are racist. They were the first ones to like observe that up. Like a quota is racist. You must have third world criminal immigration. Infinity, third world, not even criminal, legal migration. Here's another one. Noticing a pattern among the West with veterans broken by what's become of their countries, saying these aren't the countries that we fought for. Just another good example here. The same guy. This guy's like, no, it wasn't worth it. It's a World War II veteran saying, no, it wasn't worth it. Like, he says, I feel like a foreigner in my own country. What do you think that is exactly? Hart Seller. That's what that is. So, yeah. Time to understand what has happened. Do we have enough time to reverse it? Meaning, do we have enough time to like repeal and act like this? Yeah, I mean, we should, frankly. Is there the willpower to do it? That I don't know. That I do not know, ladies and gentlemen. I do know this, that gold is the top performing asset in my portfolio. I don't have a massive portfolio. We run a tight ship around here. But I can tell you that I do believe in this, and that I do believe in the performance of gold, especially in a market that has gone wild and crazy and upside down. So depending on what you're invested in, I just recommend diversification just a little bit, right? If you have a 401k or IRA retirement account, you can sit back and watch all of the winning happen when you switch over to gold. My friends at Advantage Gold can take care of you. They're America's #1 rated precious metal company. Call Advantage Gold today at 800-900-8000 right now. Leave a voicemail and enter your email address. Advantage Gold will send you a gold investment kit, a $49 value for free. That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait while the price of gold keeps climbing. Call now, and you can learn how you'll be able to protect yourself against the winds of great financial change with Advantage Gold. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Consult your financial and tax professional before investing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, along to our verse of the day. I feel like we've had a few demons in the show today. We've had some technical demons. That's okay. It always happens. It is a matter of, this is the truest fact of life. If either ALX or I are on an airplane and can't record something, then the biggest news in the world is going to break. That's a matter of fact. Every time I get on an airplane, I like say a prayer and pray. And I like, please, let, like, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say it, but like major deaths, major wars, major bombings, major like big things that happen, like major policy changes, big arrests. It always happens when like you're on a plane and you can't do anything about it. That's why some of my recordings do happen in airplane bathrooms. That's a matter that's just, it's true. Sometimes it happens from the airplane seat. I just can't help myself. Everyone's staring at me. Whatever. You know, we got a job to do around here. ALX is at a congressional hearing today for Jared Isaacman. And so whenever ALX is out and off the show, there's always going to be some type of massive, collapse in one thing or another. There you go. Here's ALX sharing from the Jared Isaacman hearing in the Senate today. Again, this is a great dude, and we pray for his nomination. He'd be awesome at NASA. Talk about taking America to new heights. Spiritual heights is what I'm interested in for our verse of the day. From Luke 2. Good Christendom verse of the birth of Christ. Here we go. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all of the people. For unto us a child is born in the city of Bethlehem, Christ Jesus. Fear not, the most oft used phrase in all of the Bible, and a beautiful one, ladies and gentlemen. Fear not this morning. And make sure that as you go through your day and as you approach life, that you don't do it out of fear. Life's too short. Even if the show goes haywire, or if you're sick and going through a fever, fear not. You know what? God's got us. I believe that in my whole of my heart. That's why I bring you tidings of great joy every single day on this program. It's your boy Benny. We're gonna win. Isn't that the best? See ya.
My Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. That's dead right, if they head right, Biggie there.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal release. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind. The salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for #1. Come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.